Hey, how's it going everyone? It is Drea, and we're back with another chapter of Fairy Tale 100 Year Quest, chapter 154, The Cobra. The cover page for this chapter has Cobra and Kinana on it. This is the weirdest timing because I just made an Horatio and Sace video, and then this chapter is quite literally all about Cobra. This is such a fun chapter cover because it actually kind of calls back to the Key of the Starry Heavens arc. Because, Kinana had a whole thing about Cobra's going to come down on a shooting star and rescue me. And to be real, you really wouldn't think Cobra is the romantic type, especially with stuff that happens in this chapter and this cover in particular. But, I guess he's turning a new leaf. Overall, I think it's really cute, this cover with the two of them. We pick up our chapter in Magnolia and you get a narration by someone, and I honestly thought this was Lucy at first because most of the time we get these narrations, it's always Lucy, and especially talking about Magnolia living in a little apartment by the river, and they kind of even make it seem like it's gonna be Lucy's house, but nope, it turns out it's actually Cobra. And he's just eating a mushroom, still narrating his life, talking about how he's a poison dragon slayer and Cobra's his old nickname, and nowadays he goes by his real name, Eric. I could be blanking on this, but the last time we saw him and Kinana, I don't remember them, being engaged, because he said, "This is my fiance, Kinana." I swear that they were a couple, but they weren't engaged yet. Either way, pretty cool. She's over at his place to help clean up and do some laundry, and their conversation kind of sets up the whole tone of this chapter with him looking at her, and she's asking why are you looking at me? And this is where you get to the conversation about her not wanting him to read her thoughts or anyone else's thoughts. And it's always been kind of a weird thing that he's the poison dragon slayer, but he can hear people's thoughts. That's kind of a weird combo to have. And he even makes a joke of it, saying that, maybe he should be the ear dragon slayer instead of the poison dragon slayer. You get kind of a redo of the Key of the Star of the Heavens arc, with their conversation about, him being surprised that she's Cabellios and, her not being able to remember it. Which is where you start getting into the whole theme of this chapter with, obviously, Cobra able to hear everyone's thoughts. With Kinana saying that Cabellios is a pretty cool name, but in her head she's thinking, nah, it's not really that cool. I kind of love that he's dang it man, I thought it was such a cool name and you don't think it's cool at all? Come on. Which you get another invitation for someone to join the Fairy Tale Guild, with Kinana asking Cobra to join the guild. It very much does not seem like his style to join the guild, but honestly, Gajiel didn't seem it either, but, he became an absolute mainstay, so, it could happen. Which he initially dismisses it, saying, that's not for me, but Kinana convinces him to go at least take a tour of Fairy Tale to see how he feels about it, and you get Cobra taking a tour of the Fairy Tale Guild. He's really trying to tiptoe around this whole, hearing people's thoughts things, because he's well, she told me not to listen to them. But if I just so happen to hear them, that's not my problem. And the first thing that Cobra asks while at the guild is, where is Natsu? Which Kinana tells him that he's obviously on the 100-year quest. And he's dang it, man, I want to find out all his secrets. Which the first people that Cobra goes to interact with is Gajiel and Levi. And he's oh yeah, that's right, there's more dragon slayers in this guild than just Natsu. I kind of love this whole different perspective of the whole guild, because, Gajiel and Levi are having just a regular conversation, but in their heads they're having existential crises, with Gajiel being terrified that he's gonna be a dad and he has no idea what the flip he's gonna do. And Levi's more concerned that Gajiel's gonna feed their kid iron. Which I love that they're having this parental crisis. Then meanwhile, Lily is in the background thinking about buying a kiwi on his way home today. So then the next people that he ends up interacting with is Kana and Juvia, which, oh my goodness, the amount of random thoughts and just insane madness that's in their heads. That's a bit much for Cobra, because he's I wish I had not heard what you two are thinking. Meanwhile, you get Jet and Droy still obsessing about Levi and how they can like steal her away from Gajiel, which kind of cruddy teammates there. You have Cobra interacting with Macau, Wakaba, and Romeo, which, just a side note, I absolutely love his jacket that has got like, you know, the snake and it says poison on the back. That is so cool looking. Which Macau and Wakaba do not look very good in this scene. They are looking real rough. And of course, Macau and Wakaba are not thinking great things, but Romeo is thinking about, you know, is Cobra stronger than Natsu? Which, I mean, Natsu did beat him. That thought was too much for Cobra because he had to immediately reply to that one saying that he's stronger than Natsu. But you go over to Mira and Lazana and they're having a conversation about, like, you know, is he going to join the guild or not? And what they're thinking in their head is just like too innocent. They must be protected at all costs, because Mira's just thinking like, what is she going to make for dinner tonight? And like Lazana's hoping that Mira makes curry for them. And Cobra thinks it's boring, but I just think it's so cute that they're like, you know, thinking what they're going to do tonight for dinner and stuff. And, you know, like Lazana's secretly getting her hopes up, which has the third Strauss sibling join in, aka Elfman, and he's just rushing in on Cobra, with him thinking that if he dare lays a hand on Mira or Lazana, he's gonna be real sorry. And that's enough to get respect from Cobra, because he respects it, saying that Elfman's a pretty good guy, which is where you go over to the Thunder Legion. And of course, you get two of the group thinking about like relationship stuff, with Free being worried that he's going to go after Loxus, with Evergreen worried that he's going to go after Elfman, and Bixlow just doesn't care. Which, if you have the Thunder Legion, Loxus isn't too far away, which he's literally right up in his face. Which he does remember Cobra from their fight against Magnolia, so that's kind of cool. Apparently the first thing that Loxus thinks about when he's meeting someone new is how fast he could kill this guy, because he says, I could do it in 10 seconds. Probably 5. With him actually saying, it's nice to meet you, and Cobra's just like, this guy is insane, I need to get away from him. So as Cobra's walking around the guild, he gets someone saying in his own mind that it looks like you're having a lot of fun reading everyone else's minds. Which this gets him super paranoid, like, who the heck is reading my own mind now? Which he immediately turns over to Makarov, thinking it's him. Turns out, it's not Makarov, it's actually Warren. And he was using his telepathy to be able to figure out what was going on here. And gosh dang, Warren gets real creepy with this. Even Max points it out, like, Warren, why are you getting such a creepy face? Which, gosh dang, this is such a different side of Warren, because he's like, you know, I can't hear anyone else's thoughts, so what? But I can hear yours. They're leaking out all over the place. And he's just got such a weird, creepy look on his face. You know, looking through his own thoughts, he immediately hits him with the, I can tell you everything you love about your dear Keenana. And he's just like, no, please stop. And you get it kind of obscured what he was like actually saying to him, like parts that he loves about her. And gosh dang, Warren, he is a absolute psychopath here, because like, look at that face, man. He is relishing in this moment too much. And Keenana asks him, what did he think of the guild? With him replying, like hell he's gonna join the guild. And who would have thought that Cobra thinks that Warren is scarier than Loxus and Urza, and that he'll remember the name Warren Rocco? Who would have freaking thought? And with that, it is the end of our chapter. So my thoughts. I absolutely loved this chapter. It's one of the funnest chapters, I think, in all of 100 Year Quest. I think it was super fun to see what everyone was thinking at the time, and kind of how Cobra reacted to everyone. Obviously, he has an apartment in Magnolia to obviously stay with Keenana. Kind of cool that he dropped his code name and is just straight up going by Eric now. I'm still calling him Cobra just because I'm so freaking used to it, and I think it sounds cooler than Eric. I mean, to be real, if they're actually getting like married and whatnot, like he's probably gonna end up joining the Fairy Tale Guild by like force at some point. I wouldn't be shocked if he shows up in this next arc, because especially with him wanting to know like Natsu's secrets. But if he doesn't show up again, like, I'm fine with it, because that was a fun, you know, little chapter with him, and it's such a nice, like, break of pace. The slice of life chapters, when those have been happening, have been so freaking good, and this chapter has been such a standout for, the chapters as of recent. So overall, I absolutely love this chapter. I loved pretty much every part of it. Leave your guys' thoughts about the chapter in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and this is Draco, signing out.